pass to the European Commission. Tassos Haniotis, from the start of this week, has become Director of Forward Thinking in DG Agri. So this is a baptism of fire. Also, we've only given him 11 minutes. 10. Okay. 1 minute for injury time. But maybe if you concentrate on what we've asked you to do, hopefully we'll have a bit of time for a bit more discussion at the end. Tassos.
Okay. Thank you. We also welcome the declaration by this group of agricultural economists as an element in the debate about the future of the CAP. Many of the signatories have already been involved with DG Agri in an active dialogue on the very issues they raise. So have, of course, many other agricultural economists, which are not on this list, but are also experts in their field. We obviously agree with the statement that the positive effects of the CAP should be further strengthened in the future. This is why the Commission assumed with the health check the commitment to review the CAP, and in particular its direct payments system. But to be able to do that, we also need to spell out what we consider these positive effects to be. These go clearly beyond removing market distortions, apply also in areas where the causality is more complex and therefore are less easy to identify, such as public goods. For example, the gradual but steady shift of arable crop practices towards lower till and winter cover, or the decrease in EU livestock numbers while grassland area remains stable, are the direct effects of the policy design of the CAP reform process during the past 15 years. These effects have not only had a measurable impact on domestic and world markets, they have also contributed in parallel and jointly to the provision of public goods such as scenic cultivated landscapes, grassland habitats, or carbon sequestration in soils that are provided through farming. And by doing so, they also contribute to climate change mitigation and adaptation, and that's why they are important. These positive effects have been the result of the shift in support and its link with cross-compliance, not the result of the abolition of support for EU farming. And we consider that such support, more balanced than it is today, is still required in the future in order to allow EU farming to continue its contribution to the delivery of those public goods that European citizens desire. Unfortunately, the declaration misses the real target of direct support, which is not to support farm household income, but to ensure a certain farm income stability, which in combination with cross-compliance promotes sustainable farming activity. Member States have the exclusive competence to assess the fairness of household income distribution and tax its level. When it comes to the EU farm income, the facts are very clear. It is well below EU non-farm income and has also recently been squeezed by what is a totally new development, the parallel boom and bust, and it seems again boom, of all three commodity markets: agriculture, energy, and metals and minerals. And here let me stress, when we talk about EU farm income, we're not talking about small farms. We talk also about the most competitive and most highly capitalized, but also more highly leveraged farms across Europe. Direct payments aim to support farm activity income in a non-distorting, non-product specific manner. That's why they don't adjust annually ever, as we both know. Together with safety net measures and targeted rural development measures, direct payments guarantee the continuation of what has been the overall contribution of the CAP, especially the C in the CAP and of its reform process. The presence of an environmentally and territorially balanced agriculture in the European Union, especially more balanced than what it would be in the absence of support. This balance is evidenced not just by results of economic model simulations, but also by a simple bird's eye view on EU agriculture. When we all look outside the window of the plane, whenever we fly over Europe and over the US, that's where we realize the very big difference between what US farmers would say in radio programs and what the reality of European agriculture is. And this balance is achieved because of the link between the basic income safety net role of direct payments, the market safety net provided by the remaining market measures, and the more important role of rural development measures in leading towards a sustainable structural adjustment of EU's agriculture. A broad range of complementary CAP instruments, including direct payments, are necessary in our view and appropriate to ensure the delivery of public goods through agriculture. It is clear that the levels and the distribution of funding for rural development measures, as well as for direct payments, will be adjusted in the future reform in order to fulfill their role in a more efficient way. But the declaration puts the previously mentioned balance at risk by ignoring the links between these instruments. First, in the absence of some basic income support, many EU producers will opt for the intensification of their production methods to retain their income levels. Others will simply abandon production. The result will not be less production overall, but more intensive production concentrated in the most competitive regions, which will result in having less public goods overall and more challenges to meet climate change targets. Secondly, the absence of clearly defined baseline requirements achieved through the link of direct payments with cross-compliance will make the delivery of public goods through rural development less rather than more effective and targeted, which is exactly the opposite of what we want to achieve with the future of the CAP. This is why we disagree with the declaration, since we consider that for the provision of public goods through agriculture, both pillars of the CAP play a crucial role. The declaration spells out a number of objectives for the future CAP. For food security, it's certainly something that European citizens expect and an element that is of importance in the global context. The question for the CAP is in what way it can best contribute to deliver it. We are of the opinion that decoupled direct support allows to maintain the production potential of European agriculture without having negative impacts on the situation of developing countries. The distribution of income, or better, the quality of income between households, is not a CAP objective. The objective of farm income support is to contribute to securing sustainable agriculture, and this has to be done in a climate of an economic crisis and in balance with other instruments of the CAP. We agree that economic efficiency and competitiveness are an essential element in contributing to the objectives of the CAP. And the best way to support this challenge is through the first pillar of the CAP, with market support as safety net and direct payments to support the economic viability of farms. However, in the discussion of the objective to provide rural public goods, the link to the other elements, and notably to competitiveness, is entirely missing in the declaration. Without economically viable farms that ensure land management and contribute to environmental preservation, there may be no basis for the delivery of public goods above baseline standards. And direct payments are a necessary element for achieving this, including the crucial issues surrounding climatic risks in agriculture. A final comment on the procedure chosen by the organizers of this event, this 10-minute, three issues, propositions to convince the audience. Why the hastiness in trying to score the politically correct soundbite at the expense of the factually correct policy recommendation? If the declaration is on the right policy track, further dialogue and public debate will only strengthen its appeal. If, on the other hand, major policy questions are ignored or superficially treated, the error finality in this way of doing things will stifle public debate on the common objectives we all seem to agree upon, and I'm pretty sure that many of the signatories that I know and have worked with also agree with that. And with that, I hope I've left some time for further discussion, and thank you for your attention.